Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Cosmic Forecast, Soulful Sessions with Madeleine Parker and me, Amalia Natalio of Karmic Kindness. We are coming to you today to share with you the astrological energies of October. And it is a doozy of a month. It is one that is going to be interesting. It's got twists and turns, and there's a lot going on. So Madeleine, welcome. And are you ready to share with us all the excitement?
Maybe I should talk a little bit about that cardinal thing I was drawing so people understand, because this is a cardinal. These are cardinal signs. This is the beginning of the fall season. Libra, we got the sun in Libra. We got a lot of planets in Libra, and we're starting the new season. It's cardinal season, and we've got like these major multiple planets in cardinal signs. So let me just explain why cardinal is so important. So I was showing Amalia earlier. Anyway, there is your astrological wheel, right? And then you have a cross in the middle of the wheel, which is your angular houses. These are your angular houses. It's a 90-degree angle here. This is and this the whole horoscope, the whole universe, basically this is the imprint. Capricorn is career, MC.
So let me hey Madeleine, let me pause you for 1 sec. I'm going to describe this for people who are listening versus watching. So what Madeleine is holding up is basically like, imagine a pie, like back when you were in elementary school, and it's a circle, and then there's a cross, like she said, drawn in the center of it, and you have four evenly sized, somewhat like triangles, like pieces of pie in the circle. At the very top, that she was talking about before, is the MC.
Your midheaven.
And that would be like the north, like if you were looking at directions, so north, and then go ahead.
What God wants you, your career. And then your DC is your descendant. So that's going to be relationships, close personal relationships. That's the sign of Libra. This is the sign of Capricorn. This is the sign of Cancer. IC, home, where you're from. Really important to know your IC.
IC would be south. And then I'm not sure, DC, would that be west or east?
East.
Okay, it looks like east, but I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Based on the direction, because it's like reversed when I'm looking at it.
I don't know. I'm very dyslexic. I can't tell if it's east or west. I would think that
DC, is it to the right? Is it to the right of the north?
I think one? DC is east. This is where we're coming from, and this is where we're going.
Yes.
I think ascendant. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It's a cardinal sign. It's the first sign. It's your first house. In astrology, it's Mars, ruled by Mars. So your 10th. So these are your cardinals. Okay, does that make sense? So the astrology wheel, angular houses, are based on these cardinal signs. Whether you have an ascendant in Scorpio or another thing, doesn't matter. That cardinal cross is still there.
So now, let me just review for people. So the MC is north. Okay, the DC is east. The IC is south,
where you're from, and your family,
and the AC is west. And so, like, if you imagine like these pie pieces, and that's kind of as you go around the circle clockwise, that's where you're hit. Those are the points that you're hitting.
Right. Okay. So when you have a solar return chart, or you're pulling a progress chart, and you see a lot of planets hitting AC, DC, any of these points, you're going to get cardinal shifts, like seasonal shifts, big change.
Okay.
So people with heavy cardinals in their chart, I'm a heavy cardinal planet chart. I've got so many cardinals in my chart. It's amazing. I got a lot of Aries, Capricorn, Cancer. I don't have any Libra, but I have a lot of planets in the 7th house, which is a Libra house. So you can also look at your cardinal houses and know whether people have heavy planets in any of these cardinal houses, which would be the 10th, the 4th, the 1st, and the 7th.
Okay. So we may need to do, we will likely do another little follow-up class on this. Madeleine and I have lots of ideas. We're waiting for Mercury retrograde to wrap up before we start any of those things.
We don't want to create any confusion.
Yes. But that's kind of just a little bit of a place of understanding as we're talking about the cardinal Libra as a cardinal sign, and how it's Libra is opening up the fall season. That's kind of the mindset, if you will.
The DC is Libra, the descendant, which is relationships, close personal contract relationships. So this month is, and this new moon that we just had we're having it is all about relationships. And it's hitting, and it's close personal. We're not just talking people that are friends. We're talking seriously one-on-one, close personal contracted style relationships. So the reason I'm saying all this is I would like to impress the impact of it being a cardinal month and what that means, and it being a very pivotal, changing time.
It's very important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I thought we would start with that little piece of info.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And I think it also helps people recognize and realize as we open up this month that and Libra is about balance, harmony,
working things out with people, not getting your way.
Right. And so recognizing in your close personal relationships where this may be, where this may be activated, because it's going to be for everyone with slightly different flavors of it. And for those of you who would like to know more about this upcoming new moon in Libra on October 6th, please check out the new moon live that Madeleine and I did talking about the energies of this upcoming new moon. It is
thoroughly entertained.
You will absolutely be entertained. It was one of the longest lives that we've done.
Oh my gosh,
it was so much fun. We had quite a number of people that stayed with us the whole time. But we did make it a little bit easier for you. We held up signs so you could tell which sign we were talking about, and then it'll help you find where you need to be a little more quickly. But definitely, if you want to learn more about the new moon, we'll be touching on it briefly. But if you want to know more about you specifically, please go check out the live on the Karmic Kindness profile. Okay. So housekeeping out of the way. So let's get into October.
All righty.
Where do you want to start, Madeleine?
Well, let's go ahead. Should we share the screen with everybody and let everybody see the month of all righty.
Yeah. And so for those of you who are not who are listening, we will do our best to kind of fill you in on what we're showing, and check out the video, which we're going to have on both Madeleine and my YouTube channels. And I'm also going to post it on my website, karmickindness.com, on the blog. So you can see it there. Okay.
Great. Well, interestingly enough, we have the moon in Leo right now as we are speaking. I'm just going to put it down to your location.
Okay.
Just for fun. But Boca Raton, but just because the moon is in Leo right now. So this is an interesting time for you to be doing this. This is a good time for you to be doing this. You have the moon is right on your MC. Isn't that interesting?
That is very interesting. We were talking about that just a moment ago.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. And Leo is all about creative self-expression, getting out there, being brave, it's just a good time for you to be doing a podcast. Excellent time for you to do this. So, I'm just trying to think where we're going to start. Well, right now at the beginning of the month, we're starting with a lot of planets in retrograde. We've got Mercury in retrograde. We've got Jupiter in retrograde. We have Saturn in retrograde. We have Uranus in retrograde. We have Neptune in retrograde. Pluto, North Node is always in retrograde. Chiron currently in retrograde. But as we speak right now, and I can definitely feel it. And that's what happens when you start studying astrology, is you can start feeling the energies. You become more tuned in, and that's what's wonderful about it, because it's good to know what's going on. That's the point of astrology, is to sort of link up with it,
Right.
And so we are starting to feel, because right before planets station direct, they station still. I guess that's called stationing. There's sort of slows down. So right now we're getting a little bit of, we're definitely feeling the Pluto's going to station direct on the 6th with the new moon. And then we've got Jupiter stationing direct. When does Jupiter station? I think Jupiter's next. What's next? I have my notes here. Let me just grab them. Jupiter stations direct. I think Jupiter is stationing direct on, Saturn stations direct first on the 10th, then Jupiter stations direct on the 17th, and then Mercury will station direct on the 18th. So you're going to start where I can already feel, you probably starting to feel Saturn stationing direct. I do actually, because you're going to start feeling movement in your career, don't we? Were we talking about that?
We were before we started recording. Yep, absolutely.
I can sort of start things shifting and moving forward now. And it's in tarot, it's that chariot card where it's like, it's not like the Aries energy where it's like instant, spontaneous, like flying out of the seat kind of energy. This is okay. We're getting things in gear now. We're getting going, and we're going to start going bum, 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 but because Saturn is not a zippy type planet. It likes to take things very slow. But we are going to feel it progressing. We're going to start feeling things lined up right. We're going to start feeling that we're doing it right. We're going to start feeling like, okay, I get it now. This is how you work this. So because when these retrograde planets go in retrograde, you're going to redo things, relook at things, refix it, clear. We had Pluto in retrograde, going back, going over old deep issues in your soul, karmic past life baloney junk that's coming up to be cleared, right? And now already with Pluto starting station direct, you can probably already see improvements and growth around that that last 6-month period, whatever happened for you, which I know I did.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah. So you're going to start with all these planets in retrograde. There's a still feeling of nothing quite happening yet, but feeling like, yes, but it's coming. I can see it. The ignition is maybe going to get turned on here soon, but things are going to start moving really forward. And as soon as Jupiter and Mercury kick in, those are your fast planets. So we're looking at the 8th, we're at 18th, I guess. Jupiter is on the 17th, 22 degrees. That's so crazy. Jupiter goes direct at 222, which is, those twos are really like higher consciousness. Those are numbers that represent, it's 11, it's like a master number. So it's kind of like Jupiter stationing direct with people really awake and aware of what they need to do, like in the right direction, like having, because Jupiter going in retrograde was going to realign you with your true mission that you've been off of. And I did too, because I focus on tarot and astrology, but I kind of dropped my energy balancing mission in a way. But now Jupiter retrograde kind of brought it back up.
Yeah.
And now and then I kind of got stumbling my way back into it. And now Jupiter's going to go direct in a couple of weeks. And then I think that I'm going to start selling these books or, all that kind of stuff. But it definitely feels like it's going forward.
Yeah. So people may be feeling this sense of, there's something right there, like almost within my reach that I have been, that maybe I had forgotten about, or that I'm reminded that I really am longing for some specific thing or creative project or whatever it might be in that person's life. Yeah. And they're going to get the sense, it's almost like the sense of hopefulness and brightness around it, but it hasn't quite materialized yet.
Yes, I think that's a great way to put it. And I also really do, and I'm seeing it already on social media, I'm seeing past relationships coming back together, because Libra is the sign of relationships, having resolved deal-breaking conflicts that were apparently deal breakers. Like, okay. Yeah. And because Pluto came in and cleaned out whatever that triggering was, whatever that karmic blocking was, opening it up now. That's what all these planets do when they go in retrograde. We go back and we fix things and we redo it better.
Wow. So would this energy be one where, because you were saying, these karmic relationships with situations that once seemed like, okay, we're like done, finished, where now they may be taking another look at the relationship and recognizing, oh, maybe I really don't want that to be done. Maybe it is something that's important. Maybe I can get past whatever that thing was that was keeping us apart. Yes.
Yep. Because something would have been unfair and out of balance in that relationship, but it doesn't necessarily mean the relationship isn't supposed to be. But the imbalance may have, in your perception, broken the relationship. But then once that imbalance is cleared, well, maybe you readdress that relationship from a new angle,
from a different perspective. Yeah.
Regular houses, a new shift, and it's possibly going to work out. Things are going to there's going to be an improvement. There's going to be growth, which is to take things forward. So anything kind of reconciling around now is probably the right relationships, probably is going to go forward.
Okay.
Or you're going back with someone that isn't necessarily the right relationship, but you are going to go forward to the next phase of the next level of growth with that relationship.
Right. And it may not be that you're back together, but you have some other version of that relationship
Maybe you just become friends again and you resolve your anger and hatred at each other or something. And now you become good friends and you just let it all go, and you've gotten over it, but basically people are going to, this is a great time because people there might remember, because we've got Mars, we haven't even gotten to Mars yet, but Mars is in the picture. Mars is direct. It's like one of the only planets direct. Venus and Mars, and what's interesting, Venus and Mars are in mutual reception and they're direct, and they're actually in mutual deception because they're in both in their detriment, but they're not in retrograde. So it's kind of an interesting energy, but it's very vulnerable. There's like Mars and Venus in their detriment are vulnerable, and Mars is vulnerable in Libra. Mars doesn't like being in Libra. It's detriment because it doesn't. Mars likes to be strong and masculine and forward and taking action, and it's very Aries energy, right? And Libra is like the opposite of chilling and finding a balance and making agreements and doing, are you okay with that? Aries is like, I don't care if you're not okay with that, I'm doing it anyway. Libra's like, is it okay if I do that? Are you okay? So we're finding like that middle ground, right? So Mars is not net it does not mean that this all happens in peace, even though it's in Libra, because Mars is frustrated. So there may be frustrations and aggro involved, and for sure everybody should watch out, because we've got this week, first week of October in the 9th, we've got Mars, Mercury, and the Sun all cazimi together. And in history, it has been quite a volatile period. It could be a time where people like rebel really strong. A lot of people coming up fighting and getting very angry and fighting for their rights, law, legal stuff. People are going to fight for their Libras, also the law. So you might see like people that are mandating vaxes might all group up and go, no way on this. There might be big.
Okay.
Because also in the history, when we've had these conjunctions before, they have been very pivotal times in the sign of Libra, very pivotal times in our history. It's in the history books. When you look up some of these other conjunctions and you go back and you think, when did they happen before? Because that's how you really can get a good picture. Well, when we look back in history, there have been some pivotal shifts in society during those periods where things became more balanced. Although I think Vietnam started during the same sort of transit. So, but we are looking at like people fighting for rights, people fighting for what's fair, people speaking out, people not being repressed, like creating better balance in general, things making people standing up for what's fair. But like in a relationship level, you're not saying it's not fair with the other person. You're going to evolve into a place that's more considerate of the other side.
Right. You're willing to even just consider the other side, where before you weren't at all.
Right. But the outcome is going to be balanced. The outcome is going to be the right thing. So there's going to be a shift and a change. This is going to change things. I don't know exactly how. When this day, you want to look for personally, I'm not going to drive on that day, but you want to watch out. That's a very violent kind of aggro day. So you want to take it really smooth, take it easy, try not to get in arguments with people during this time, try to step out, just to observe. And, but again, speak up though, if you can do it in a way that's fair and diplomatic. Mars is very diplomatic.
So just to confirm, this is on October the 9th. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, I think let's take a look. Let's go to October the 9th. So we've got October the 9th, I think everything conjuncts at 16 degrees Libra. I see the Sun is at 16 degrees Libra, Mercury is at 16 degrees Libra, Mars is at 16 degrees Libra.
Ooh, wee, wowza.
I know. And then I'm trying to look and see what so we've got no major squares on that day. So you know what? It might not be so bad because there aren't any major squares on that day. But you can't underestimate the power of fire and fire on each other. So but it also could be a very strong, I think things in the big world, in the big picture, there's going to be shifts. There's going to be speaking out. There's going to be some kind of, I've already started seeing some things about it on the internet, like groups of people who don't want to take the vax, in the medical world, or banding together and things like that. People are going to start coming and saying what's fair and what's justice, and they're going to follow the law. It's going to be in accordance with the law, which is why it's going to be successful. you know what I'm saying? The outcome is going to be balanced.
Right. Right. It just may feel a little bit like, woo, in the meanwhile.
Yeah. Cardinal changes come with, it's not smooth and flow. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
most change isn't. Most change feels uncomfortable and it feels challenging.
It will feel uncomfortable. Yep.
Yeah. So that first week, just to kind of summarize what you were saying, that first week we've got a lot of action in Libra, which is normally a planet of harmony and balance, but it's not going to necessarily feel like it because of the Mars influence in that sign.
Yeah, it's going to be a little more vulnerable.
Okay. And then are there any other highlights for that first week-ish? We kind of talked about up to the 9th that would be important for us to be aware of,
I mean, I guess, don't we have an opposition? We have Venus opposing the North nodes. But don't forget, Saturn is trining the North node. In all of this, there is improvement for the long haul, because Saturn is the long haul. Saturn is the boss, how things need to unfold. It's how the universe works. You've got to follow the Saturn rule. It's not just about the government, but it's just about the physical material world. There is a sort of a material law for how things ground and structured. And so things are now going to, because if it's trining Gemini, if it's trining Saturn, it means things are adjusting. It's trining the North node to your true mission. Remember, I was telling you, like, my true mission, it might be more of the energy balancing thing that I'm working on. So now I'm being sort of shifted more to my true mission. And then with Mercury retrograde, people coming from the past, most of the communication coming in is going to realign you to your true mission, is going to realign you, So the trining of, I think Saturn is going to be trined. Saturn is trining the North node all month. This is a slow transit.
Okay.
So throughout all of this, we've got it's for the best. It's going to bless the longer term. So it's called, having a little bit of making decisions, saying things you need to say to rock the boat, but you got to say it. Things need to be balanced out. Things need to be cleared up so that things can go forward. This is all going to bless the long term.
Yeah. And I think the key part of this, at least kind of what I'm feeling and what you're sharing, is if people have an awareness that this is the energy that's at play, right, and they are tuned in enough to themselves and their goals and wishes and desires, this is the perfect time for them to really align with what they're meant to do.
Yes.
But if you're not, and if you're in a state of fear and following kind of the old ways of doing things, you're not necessarily going to reap the benefit of this time.
Yes, but here's an interesting thing about cardinal changes is
can't help it.
Yeah, and there's always a discussion about free will.
Yeah.
And your will, but when there's cardinal changes, this is like in tarot, it's the Tower card, where it's external changes that shift you. It's coming from the outside of the world, and oppositions usually involves another person. So with opposition, wait, what did I have? What did I have in opposition? What did we talk about opposition?
You're talking about Venus opposing Mars.
Yeah, so it's very likely a personality or a person that you are supposed to be in a relationship is, and we were talking about this with you earlier, you're now going to shift onto your true purpose with that person. So a relationship could come in, and then you get onto your North node, which is your mission, which is your purpose. So
it could be, even if
an argument with a relationship that says, no, you're going the wrong way, you got to do it this way. No, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. No, you got to do, okay, maybe you're right. All right. Like there's a middle ground here. Okay, let's do it this way. We both can do it this way. Something like that.
Okay. So
on a path, we're staying on our path.
Is the relationship tied for most people to their, okay. So this is relationship based mission.
Yep.
And so it could be a situation where in the there's something outside of you that's going to move you in that direction. And you kind of don't, like, you have a choice, but not really. Like,
here's your choice. You either scream and cry and complain and fight, or you just talk and be a diplomat and reason things out and find the harmonic, balanced solution.
I love that.
That's your choice.
That's perfect. Okay, that's great. So this is interesting though, when you're talking about the cardinal, the distinction with the energy when you're talking about the cardinal signs, because any other time in this scenario, you may not feel compelled to make a choice. You may miss the opportunity, but these, you can't miss it because it's a cardinal.
Yep. And because you probably have run away, because you've been out of alignment. I have in some way.
Yeah.
So the cardinals are going to come in and go back in alignment. This is where you're supposed to go. Divine has your mission, the top of the chart, MC,
right?
Realign to your MC, boom, So it's so you can either be upset and mad, like you lose it. These are pivot points in your life. You may end up, leaving other relationships or other situations, but you're going to have to change. And people who don't like change have a hard time with it.
They're going to struggle with this. This is making me think.
Scorpios, your fixed signs don't like change. Scorpios, Taurans. Who else is fixed? Aquarius and Leo. You've got a lot of fixed signs. So
I do.
Your fixed sign people might be a little resistant. They like things grounded. They like to build stability and build upon a foundation. And so if you are a what did I just call you? A fixed
sign person
might have a harder time.
Well, what's interesting,
your mutables have good. Mutable is going to be good for, which is Sagittarius, Gemini, Virgo. I left one out, Pisces. So mutables, okay, they're a bit more shifty because mutable is changing, fast changing.
Yeah.
Cardinals are like major shifts. Vroom. Your mutables are like little everyday changing minds, changing back.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah.
And then your fixed people are like, ooh. So
this makes me want to look at my son, one of my sons, because he's very fixed. And really? He's a Taurus son. I don't know his others because I don't have his exact birth time. I have a general, I kind of remember when he was born, but I haven't been able to get his actual birth time. But he's like, I'm very curious. I'll be very curious how this particular period works for him, knowing that he's very much like, this is how he likes.
He'll probably be stressed out. I know a lot of fixed sign people who, when there's cardinal movements, they get pretty upset. They get pretty like, oh my God.
I'll have to touch base with them.
They can. I've seen it happen. So, and then they come for a read and then they're like, oh, okay, everything's gonna be okay. It's just, we're changing. It's okay.
Right.
But yeah. So that would be hard. That would be hard for some people.
Okay. So just folks, just be aware of that. All right, let's see. What about, like, let's move the chart forward a bit more and look at maybe that second-ish to third-ish week of October.
Yeah. So now that was the 9th was on a Sunday. So now we're going to go to,
I think, Madeline, I think you moved it to November instead of.
Whoops. Yeah. I know. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. What are all these sudden squares? Okay. So here's today, right? We're back on today. So, oh no, that was to the 9th. So now we're going to look for, let's go to the middle of that week and see if we're getting any squares yet. See, now we get a lot of trines. That's nice. Look at all these trines. So, when there's trines and sextiles, like you see, things are pretty flow and easy. Sun is trining Jupiter. But again, there might be very fiery motivation or arguments or conflicts and stuff like that. But we are getting a flow going on in the background.
Nice.
You have to be aware that through all of this struggling and maybe shiftings and changings, there is some kind of a flow happening because we've got Saturn, Venus. I mean, what else? Sun is trining Jupiter. That's great. That's very auspicious. So there is abundance happening in all of this. Okay. That's what's pivoting the change. That's what's causing the change, is that there's abundant opportunities that are causing people to face things and go in order to go forward. But there's your Sun square Pluto is happening. And we're also going to get Mars square Pluto. So towards where are we now? Towards the middle of the month, we now have no planets. We have Pluto direct, right? Still Jupiter, Saturn. Oh no, Saturn is now direct next. So Saturn is now direct, but we have a square with the Sun and Pluto, and we're working up to a square with Mars in Pluto.
So that's more like the third week of the beginning of the third week, would you say?
Yeah, let's take it all the way to the Sunday. Let's take it, I think. Now we have Sun square Pluto. We have Mars is squaring Pluto.
So this is what, October what, Madeline?
We finally, now I just want to see what planets are direct. We've got Saturn direct, Jupiter still retrograde. This is October 17th. So Jupiter is going to go direct that day too, which just isn't showing up here. So Pluto goes direct that day. At the same time, Jupiter goes direct. At the same time, we have this Mars square Pluto. Mars square Pluto is tough. That would be violent. That could be violent in situations. So you got to watch out for that aggravation. Some of these situations might turn into, and Sun is squaring Pluto. So Sun and Mars are ego, fiery energies, squaring Pluto, death and rebirth, control. Pluto can sometimes be control. Remember, Pluto's in Capricorn right now, which is the sign of the government. We might see some violent, outbursts.
Yeah.
You just say that?
Yes. Yeah. We're on the same wavelength there for sure.
I mean, but remember, with Mercury in retrograde, Pluto going direct, secrets might be revealed. Some deep stuff might come out. Like what was it that just came out recently? That was kind of like a reveal. I forget what it was. And I thought, oh, there's a typical Pluto reveal. But
I don't know.
Because with Mercury in retrograde, things may come up, secrets, hidden things coming up to light that create outrage, anger towards the government, or towards any kind of a structure that isn't that. You see, the point of this is that if there's Pluto in Capricorn, we are going to have America's Pluto return coming up in December, which is a huge topic of conversation in the astrology world. But Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn, which is clearing the karma of the American government. It's clearing its karma, its corruption. It's going to clearing it out. So, but Pluto in Capricorn for me can also like it was in my 7th house. So it can also in a personal chart, and to you personally, it's going to represent a similar thing, which is something that you feel is domineering or fixed, if it's in your 7th house of relationship, maybe your partner is domineering and repressive or oppressive, and now you don't allow the oppression anymore. You break out of it. You break free from the oppression. So on a personal level, you're going to have the energy and the motivation and the impetus to either reveal secrets that are power controls, because Pluto's also power control. So you're fighting a power control issue in your life, in your personal life, something that's repressive or holding you back. You're going to break free. Let's say, for instance, you're in a relationship with a man that doesn't believe in astrology and wants you to, thinks it's really baloney. Well, maybe during that Mars square Pluto, you go, you know what? I'm doing what I need to do. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to be me. I'm going to get out there in the world. I'm going to be an astrologist. You're just going to have to live with it. And then we get death and rebirth. So something could end. Pluto is also the sign of total regeneration, total and utter regeneration. We have Mars coming in starting its new cycle. Whenever it enters, it goes conjunct with the Sun. It starts a new cycle. So it's a 2-year cycle. So we really are starting a 2-year cycle where people are more in their power. People are more in their sovereign power, believing in what they want and speaking out and saying, this is what I want, revealing secrets, not assisting corruption, not assisting oppressive energies anymore. Like it's liberating. This is all part of that Uranus Saturn square, where people are saying, you know what, I'm not afraid of the repression anymore. I'm going to stand up and speak out and fight. So these are strong energies. This is going to be an interesting month. I mean, news-wise, we're going to see stuff. We're going to see things that happen that really shift and change things.
Well, and you can almost feel that now. Like it's already it's palpable. even now. It's like you can feel like it's amping up.
Yep. And Pluto going
Amping up.
retrograde helped everyone be more in their power. Remember, I was telling you, it's clearing that lower fear, codependency, addictive type, past life trauma, fear, attachment, control issues, right? In Capricorn, it's on the side of Capricorn. So when you get rid of all that, what are you? You're like your pure self. You're like, you know what? I'm here to live my full life. Don't tell me what to do.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's a key piece that has been missing for quite some time for a lot of us. You know, the fact that we're kind of going with the program,
right,
following along, and while we're also dying inside a little, because we weren't moving towards what lights us up and lights our inner fire and stokes that flame within us.
Yeah, because Pluto is your soul. So Pluto is your soul. So if we look at your soul, it's like your soul is going to speak. Your soul, the soul is going to win here. And we're becoming more in our sovereign power, which means we are walking our soul's path more, which means we don't worry about the matrix as much, you know. So you're going to see people becoming more independent, where you're going to see that all throughout next year anyway. Jupiter is going to be very strong position next year, which is all about people being of service in their own, working for themselves and stuff. So financially is going to be a pretty strong year. But a lot of it has to do with everyone becoming much more in their power. Pluto is about death and rebirth, your soul's power, like not being controlled over. Yeah. So people aren't going to want to be controlled. You're going to see I'm very fascinated to see what happens. But there's another side of it where we might get more, they might start locking down. They might, the Pluto in Capricorn might start trying to impose its more restrictions, travel. Maybe there are some places that are going to try and do lockdown. I think you're going to see quite a bit of uproar. I think you're going to see a upsurge of resistance with those energies there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is some talk I've heard, you know, about some more stringent restrictions on travel, you know, coming into the US. So, you know, maybe that's part of it, you know, that's part of that piece of that puzzle for
more mandates coming up that then are going to be fought. As soon as in the universe, it's just the law of the universe. As soon as you create one thing, its polar opposite is instantly created. You instantly create. As soon as you create mandates, you will instantly create opposers.
There we go.
It's like if you go up, you're going to have a down, you know. Right. So that's the law of the universe. Yeah, you instantly create its polarity. So yeah, so we're going to be playing out this polarity, you know, of the people versus the repression, and you know, but we don't really have any exact. We do have Mars trining Jupiter at this point, and we have Mercury opposing Chiron, which is going to be triggered wounds, arguments, things said, communication come in that hurts people's feelings. People are probably going to say, maybe people are going to say, if you don't believe in what I believe in, you're stupid. You know, I'm just making a really minimal way of saying it, or sort of a say, but then people might, you know, it's insulting or hurting people and, you know, feelings. So people get outraged and fight and speak up, you know. And all of that energy is basically going to kind of come to a head. We're working up to it anyway. You kind of feel it, but we're going to get like a crescendo point where there in the outcome will be a balanced, fair, just.
So this energy that you're talking about now, is this leading up to the full moon, around the time of the full moon?
Well, yeah, let's talk about that. Aries full moon. When is the Aries full moon? When is it? Let me see.
I think it's on the 20th.
Yeah, the 20th. So let's go to the 20th. Yeah, this is all coming up to the full moon, by the way. Good point. So then when you get to the full moon, you're going to get the big, you know.
And Madeline and I are going to be doing an IG live on
20th.
On the, let me see, hold on one sec. Let me check the exact date of our live. For those who are listening to this and want to tune in, we'll be doing it on the 14th, I believe.
Yeah, 14th.
Yes, we'll be October 14th, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific, on karmic kindness. Madeline and I'll be going live and talking about the specifics of the full moon for each
Yeah.
sign. It's a really
Yeah.
really amazing way to tune into the energies. Madeline does such a great job of bringing all of the information together in her special, unique way. So this is a really bespoke sort of live that we do.
Yeah, we get into it.
Yes, it's really fun. So if you will, we're going to touch on it here now a bit, but if you want to learn a lot more, we're doing a deeper dive on October 14th. So yeah. Okay.
So for this full moon in Aries.
Yeah. Woo-wee. I know. 5-year week.
Yeah, and we got that Sun square Pluto at the same time. And don't forget, Mars is squaring Pluto. So, it's going to be outbursts of one astrologist. Let me tell you what she called it. I can find out her name. What does she call it? She calls it fired up, defending rights, defending your values, fired up. Yeah, defending your rights. So, and it's intense whenever this is deep stuff. Like for instance, people, if you disagree with someone's politics, you can go, okay, well, that's just their politics. That's fine. But if you're going to disagree with something like really integral about my life and my freedom or my health or something then there's something you're going to stand up and fight for. Like, this is the thing that I'm going to stand up and fight for. Right, that's where we're going now. We're going for that thing. Like, for me, it's health. Like, like I'll get in an argument. I really don't like getting in arguments, but if I have to defend something, that would probably be the place I do stand up and defend, because so somewhere in your life, there is the thing you'll defend. There is that thing that'll stop you from just being in the background, passively quiet. Now you're going to go, you know what? This is when I do stand up and say something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It'll be the thing that does that to you,
Right.
So it'll be interesting. But we've got Mars trining Jupiter at that point. Nice. Saturn is still trining the North Node. Do we have any Venus in here? We like Venus. Whenever Venus is around, she calms everything down and makes everybody feel much better. But there's not much going on. Where is Venus at that point? Well, Venus is in Sagittarius, which is nice.
Okay.
That's a good energy. Okay. Plus, by this point, what do we have direct? We have Saturn direct, Jupiter is direct. So in the background of all of that, things are moving forward. We are making progress. We are in alignment to our Saturn is trining the North Node. We are getting lined up. Mars, we're taking actions. You see, a lot of that fighting or disagreement or whatever is trining Jupiter. What does that mean? That means it's causing better, higher consciousness expansion. It means it's going to progress humanity. We are going to evolve from this because Mars is trining Jupiter. Mars is the aggro fighting energy. Trining Jupiter, it's for Jupiter's right, for Jupiter's cause, for the good. So as hard as this may seem, the Pluto aspect is what's going to trigger you deep enough to make the moves to align yourself in your actions that align, because Mars is aligning with Jupiter, which is fantastic because Mars energy tends to go on its own will, but now it will align with the cause, the higher consciousness. So it's like Mars will be in alignment with the higher good. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So essentially it's short-term pain for long-term gain.
Yes. And if you're balanced, anywhere that's balanced is going to be fine. Right. Anywhere where we need to find balance and compromise and find the middle ground, because we have to find a middle ground. That's why Libra's in astrology. We have to, otherwise we have to find, if you're polarizing with someone, automatically the other person is right in some way. It's just instant. If you don't believe in this really, really strong, on some level, they're going to be right because you've created a polarity. As soon as you create a polarity, your job is to find the balance between that, which is to find a common denominator. So on some level, we're going to find a common denominator somewhere where we can all agree, because we have to go forward. We have to have an agreement to go forward.
Right. That seems really big. You know, that seems almost
impossible, doesn't it?
Yeah, like pie in the sky sort of mindset. But
that's why I'm going to be fascinated to watch this month. It's a fascinating month.
Truly.
And then I have personal triggers on it. I've got my Mars. I'm getting Mars square Mars while all this is happening. I'm like, whoa, but I actually already can feel it. It's not, I don't feel very built. I don't have any pent up anger coming out or feelings. I'm not feeling that. but what I am feeling is busy, a bit action. Like I'm feeling very motivated and driven and just like in a relaxed, like there's a fire behind me that is not me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it, like we say, it really depends on your energy frequency as to how you ride through these.
So
that's what astrology is about, really, is to teach you that you can experience the shadow aspect or the in-light aspect. It's your choice. Depends on your personal, the work you do on yourself.
and that's a big one because everyone's on a, we all have our levels and our layers and where we are and how much we're willing to go in.
Right.
And so the more people, the more people take a look at themselves and really do some self-assessment, the better it will be for themselves as well as everyone else.
And astrology is the best way. Like, for instance, when you look at your malefics, you can look in your chart, like this is the chart of the moment, but let's say it was a personal chart. You would look at Mars. Where's Mars? In the 9th house of Libra. You would want to watch your Mars energy. You always want to watch your Mars energy, that you're not causing problems with it, but you're using it in a constructive way.
Right. Yeah.
So, when you understand your chart and where your Mars is, you learn how to use your Mars energy better. You learn how not to lash out, because Mars triggered lashes out, and you know what things can cause you to trigger and lash out. So you know how to work on that. So astrology is very helpful for that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Kind of keeps you in that day-to-day check-in.
Yeah. You can see your weaknesses and you can see your strengths.
Yeah. So let's wrap up here with the last week of October and kind of let's see how the energy of the month itself.
2 hour. So what day is that? Would you give me a date?
Let's do the 27th or 28th, just to kind of see how the
end of the month. Yeah. 27. Oh, the sun is in Scorpio. The sun's going to be in your sign. So the sun, don't forget, the sun shifts into Scorpio around the 21st.
Okay.
Now we've got pretty much all the planets direct now that are going to go direct in the sign of October. All your planets are direct. Let's see how we're doing. The sun is squaring Saturn still. Why is the sun still squaring Saturn? Saturn is at 7 degrees Aquarius. Okay, and the sun is in Scorpio. So those are your fixed signs. So the sun is still coming up to squaring Saturn. Venus is squaring Neptune.
And what sort of energy would that be?
Well, Neptune is a higher octave energy of Venus. Uranus is a higher octave energy of Mercury. So with Venus squaring Neptune, illusions, Neptune is a very illusionary energy.
Right.
So whatever illusions you have around something, Venus is going to come in. Like, let's do an example. Like, let's say you're in love with someone that's far away and you have this illusionary dream. Well, Venus, when you meet them, you find out they're kind of maybe not as, or you've met them and then you realize, well, I made a really big deal out of them. Like, I put them on this big pedestal and they're really kind of just a normal, person that's, just got problems and whatever, and right. Then, so then you're going to pull out of a delusion about a relationship, but it's not bad. It doesn't mean that the other person you can't still love them and it doesn't work out. You just stop having these sort of grandeur illusions around something.
Okay.
And Venus is going to come in and be real. Venus is in Sagittarius though. So it's confident. It's excited. It's optimistic. It's forward thinking. Venus is in a good position. So squaring Neptune, it's maybe not what you think, but it's going to be good.
Okay.
And you may get in an argument because squares are always conflict. Squares are Aries energy.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's something to look at. It'll be interesting. It'll be illusionary breakthroughs.
Okay.
And also Venus is money. So illusions around money too. Okay. Will be put to the test. And then that sun square Saturn again, sun represents Leo, represents God, represents the male energy, represents your ego. So squaring Saturn, which is the government, which is rules, regulations, what else?
Yeah.
Delay, squaring arguments, contrasting it, pushing up against it.
So we still have that potential for
Yeah.
an uprising of people and
Yeah,
this,
but it's going to calm down by the end
it'll
of the
be,
month.
okay. It's
Yeah,
a
because,
little more chill.
well, the sun hasn't aspected fully yet to that square. Let me just see, when does it hit the square exactly? Well, it hits it on October 30th. It'll be exact. So it might still be kind of bubbling along issues. There might still
Okay.
be stuff happening up until November, but
Okay.
Yeah, we got a T square then at the end of the month in Virgo, Gemini, and air T square. Interesting. That's information causing. T square is air, is information, knowledge. So yeah, the end of the month might continue. You got this. We got a fixed sign T square on the. We don't have to go through every single day, but T squares. These squares can be kind of challenging.
Okay.
But basically, we're looking at changing. I mean, what are you going to say?
Change.
It's like,
yep.
When you need to change something in your house, you got to get rid of some stuff. You probably got to break some things down. You got to do a lot of talking. You got to find agreeing with people. It's movement.
Yeah.
We all want it. You're going to want this change. It's going to be great. I believe after this, we're really going to see an adjustment and a shift in our society. We're all going to be much more evolved. I think there's going to be an evolution here where we become much more in our sovereignty, in balanced, fair, just ways of expanding ourselves without being so oppressed. Right. Finding a sort of a balanced way to continue forward in alignment in our purpose.
Well, and I think that's a great way to remember this time period. Like, kind of everyone keep that in your mind, in your psyche, in your heart when you're in the midst of all of this. Like, really recognize it's fleeting. It's for your highest and best good. It may not be comfortable. Yes. Exactly. This too shall pass.
Yeah. And we are evolving everything, even if there seem to be more strict Saturn mandates or restrictions. They're not going to last, because if you know the astrology and what's coming down the line, people are really emancipated. We're going to get the next like Jupiter is going to be in a very strong position for like the next 5 years. So we just got to get through this hump. And then we're really in a good place. Money wise, next year looks fantastic. Yeah. Money might be tricky right now, by the way, with these Pluto squares and stuff. Some people say make sure you have cash in your drawers, because the systems might go through some kind of a chaotic change too. Because we are looking at Libra, the law, money, Venus, finances, Pluto. Some people think there could be some sort of a drastic financial shift occurring, like in the stock market, some kind of a shift that then we have to adjust how we do finances to some degree. So don't forget that whole element in it all. There's so much to talk about,
I know there is. I mean, this is like we started off this episode. It's a doozy of a month. There's just so much that
I think people are going to remember this month in a long time. They're going to go, I remember we got back together that day, or things got back, or this is when I fully really things started to work for me in my mission. People are going to see this as a pivotal point in their it's going to be the culmination of the whole year, the struggles and everything that you've been struggling towards and doing during these retrograde periods is going to be fantastic. You're going to see your efforts paying off. You're going to see the fruits of your labor. So there's that side of it all, which is amazing. You're going to forget about the conflicts and the stresses that are occurring right now. But when we you're going to remember the glory of this transformation that we're going through.
It sounds like one of those the silver lining in the cloud kind of times.
And that's why astrology and tarot and all these things are so important. Well, for me they are anyway, is because they help you keep your eye on the silver lining, and you just keep your focus on your north node, live your Jupiter, eye on your north node, take on that MC energy, follow your MC energy, right? You take on your MC energy, live your north. No, here's how I go. Live your Jupiter, keep your eye on your north node, and take on your MC energy. Live your MC energy, like whatever that energy is. Yeah. And you keep that going and just go through the bumps and the challenging aspects or the challenging transits. You just leap over them, like boop, 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 hop over them and keep your eye on your north node. you know?
Yeah, I love that. It sounds easy.
It does.
But when you're in it, it's not quite as easy.
And that's why I do tarot card reads, because I go through these hearts themes and I do my chart studies for myself all the time. I'm always aware of what's going on with my planets, because that really helps. It just makes you not worried so much. Like you pull great cards, you're like, great for the day. But then hard cards, you know, a lot of times it's just helping you get over the hardships, to help you leap over it, really. And life, you can see the bigger picture, what's coming down the pipeline it's all going to be great. So you just kind of know that that's ahead, and you just get over these little, but we have to go through the squares you have to do to get to the diamond. It's the pressure and stresses that create the diamond,
the gem. Yeah, absolutely. So Madeline, I'd like for you, if you don't mind, sharing how people can find you if they would like a little bit of help with living their Jupiter and focusing on their MC, and, you know, keeping an eye on their North Node. Yeah.
Yes. Contact me, email me at madelineparker111@gmail.com. But also you can find me on Instagram, and you can DM me, contact me that way. I am on TikTok too, which I'm really having fun with. And I do live tarot readings there for free. You can come on and I'll give you a quick read. What else am I? I have a YouTube channel that I'm trying to work on. I kind of dropped that ball a little bit, but I am kind of if I can get a link on this, I'll post this on there. And yeah, I think that's it. I mean, yeah, contact me if you want energy balancing, psychic information about your chart. I'm a channel, and I can help you through any challenges. The cards will answer any questions. So if you have questions, ask me anything you like. So
yeah. Madeline's card reads are really spot on. She's really her channel has opened up so much just in the time that I've known her, that it's been super fun to watch. And of course, if you need anything from me, Amalia, Karmic Kindness, spiritual advisor, soul mentor, you know, whatever you want to put under that umbrella category, I likely do it. Also,
amazing. She did, Amalia did, I don't know what you call it, that thing.
Soul contract reading.
Yeah, I highly recommend everyone getting that done, by the way. That was great.
Yeah, it really does help. You know, I think astrology is great for your day to day, like really honing in on the energy of what's happening for you every day. And the soul contract gives you a general sense of yourself from a different perspective. You know, I think astrology can look at you overarchingly. It can look at you in the moment. And there's so much power and wisdom to be found there. And the soul contract is just different. You know, you're looking at yourself like from like one angle is coming up from the top, another one's from the side, you've got others coming up from underneath. It's like just really all these different spiritual sciences, as you utilize them, gives you kind of like a 360-degree view of yourself. And that's what's really cool, because some people resonate more with astrology. Some people resonate more with human design. Some people resonate more with numerology. So it's wherever
it's another option.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, the intuitive part of it. And I'm also a hypnotherapist. So if there's like stuck places that you can't quite get through, that's a really great way to access these subconscious blocks.
I might send someone to you that because I do relocate some stubborn stuff sometimes. And I do think hypnotherapy is a fantastic way to do it.
Very helpful. And it can be done online. You know, a lot of the hypnotherapy sessions that I've done, particularly when I was in training, when you had to do, oh my gosh, so many, I don't even know how many I did in training. And, you know, you had to meet with different people, and online was an option. Even then, this was pre-COVID. So it's for sure an option for people who may need some support, but don't feel comfortable in the same physical space or don't live close by. So yeah, that's definitely an option there. So once again, Madeline, thank you so much for all of your wisdom, your goodness, your brightness, and sharing this rather challenging month's energy.
Keeping it upbeat though. I mean, you know, we want it. That's the best thing to do energetically about it.
Absolutely. I mean, right. Exactly. Yeah. Just flow through it a little more easily with a little more grace. Mm-hmm. So on behalf of Madeline and myself, Amalia, we thank you so much for tuning in to this October edition of the Cosmic Forecast. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Soulful Sessions. We'll see you next month.
Bye, everyone. Thanks. Bye, Amalia.